Hi and welcome to stellarmedia.co. My name's Lana Morris. We have a very special guest on today's podcast, Natalie Roach. Natalie is a psychic medium. Hiya, Natalie.
Hi, Lana. Hi.
And also like to introduce Michael Griffin from Stellar Media. Hiya, Michael.
Good morning, Lana. Do you know what I'm looking? I seem to say this on every single episode, but I'm really looking forward to this morning. I've spoken to Nat a couple of times, and she has an incredible accent, doesn't she? I'm just going to sit here and listen to you ladies have a natter, because I might actually learn something this morning. So I'm really looking forward to it. Morning, Natalie. It's been a pleasure to invite you onto the show, and I'm looking forward to you inspiring our listeners. So I'm just going to sit here in silence.
Okay, so Natalie, first question really. How did you come to be a psychic medium?
Well, what can I say about that? Many people asking me some question, and it's always been there. As far as I remember into my childhood, I had visions, I had premonition, dreams that came through. But as I grew up in a small village in Ukraine, I didn't know anything about it. But so I just ignored it and lived with it until probably 16, when I predict my own future by being afraid of someone, and it make me think about it. It make me look back and realize there is something, like some people said, not normal about me. And then again, yes, and then I moved to UK, and like many people, I wanted to have a reading with psychic medium. So as I did. And this lady told me why I'm not doing it. And I was a bit confused. And so I asked her, doing what? And she's explained me. And that's where I opened my gates. And it's flooded. But the learning never stopped. Learning and discovering about myself, who I truly are, never stopped till now, and it will never stop. Yeah, so it's always been with me. I guess we all born with the sixth sense. It's matter of some people choose to use it, and some people choose to ignore it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to ask then, growing up in Ukraine, and I guess slightly different culture from your experience in Wales. What kind of support did you have, when growing up and having your sixth sense and being aware of that?
Well, there was no support whatsoever, because I grew up in a small village, and nobody talked about it. We had little old ladies who did like card reading, but I haven't thought about it. So I have to bear it within me, really, because it wasn't something that I can talk about to someone, because nobody would understand. And I always felt that I'm different and I'm not belong there. I don't belong in that society. So I just lived with it by myself, deal with it, ignore it.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is, your story is fascinating, and I'm absolutely sure we're going to go deeper into that, Natalie. Is there a story that you can share that would just give our listeners an understanding of the spiritual journey that you've undertaken? Is there a story that you can share that would just give us a little bit more information about you and the journey that you've made?
Well, there is lots of stories. There is lots of journeys. There is long stories, but right, okay.
Well, tell us a long story. I'm in the mood for a long story this morning.
The most fascinating story is my discovery about my Egyptian past life that really, really opened my eyes and make me really understand who I am and what is my purpose in this lifetime. And Egyptian discovery, Egyptian past life only started about 2 years ago when I really had this urge to go to Egypt. It was almost, I felt like there is a part of me missing, which is I don't understand. And I felt that, I guess, all through my growing up years, that there is something missing. I didn't feel complete. So all the searches over, I don't know, over 30 years that I've been doing, only find that 2 years ago, which is quite, it's a long time to search, especially when you don't know what you're searching for. So anyway, the call to go to Egypt made me a little bit confused because I never been really interested in Egyptian stuff. But I thought I'd go with it because it was so strong I couldn't ignore it. So I started working with Lady Isis, the goddess of Egypt, and the messages, the healing that she brought with her was very powerful. And I also the channel some oils that helped me through the healing process and accepting myself. But anyway, when the time came for me to go to Egypt, and I spent that 3 weeks traveling from temple to temple, it was like going back in my past life. I had the feeling of being there. It was, I don't know how can I even explain, but it was very emotional looking back and having feeling of being executed or being worked or being hurt or being overwhelmed with love because I dedicated my life, a time to help people as a high priestess. And it made me feel that I found my missing piece. It made me feel complete because I did understand who I am and the purpose of my life in this time. And yeah, since then, my work with goddesses, not only with Isis, but with others, Lakshmi and Durga and other Hindu goddesses, really become very strong because I do feel I'm a part of them. And the work I do here is keep me going, basically. When I give someone reading and we look into past life, and I see the changes in the person, that's what makes my day. So it's not easy. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's lonely, because it's not something that I discuss with many people, what I feel and what I see. But I'm enjoying. And there is lots of people awakening now, and they looking and understanding the purpose of life. And it's make me feel a bit better that I'm not alone, that I'm not going nuts when I see past life and have experience of past life. And yeah, it's more to the story, but I just try to cut it a bit shorter. Yeah.
So when somebody comes to you for a reading, what can they expect? How do you sort of conduct that reading, and how do you get them to the point where, you know, they are looking at past life experiences and what they're bringing into the present life?
When it comes to reading, every reading is different. You know, like you know, every psychic medium, we work differently. There is no two psychics that work exactly the same. We work on different level, different frequencies. So usually I don't know what's going to happen during the reading until the person in front of me, or even not in front of me, because when it comes to reading, there is no time and space, as you know. So I work a lot with my gut feeling. And not every person wants to look back into past life. So I only conduct my reading with my gut feeling. What I feel, if the person ready to hear more deeply, then I go for it. But if I feel that the person is not ready, I try to be gentle with them. I don't want to drop this big shell bomb on the head about the past life and freak them out, because it can be damaging and confusing. So my reading usually goes I don't know what to say, how it goes. I get so many different clients who comes with a list of questions. If they want only that, I concentrating on answering those questions and look possibilities of the outcomes. And because we all, when it comes to readings, people think they're gonna come for a reading, I will tell them the future or possible outcomes, and they're gonna sit and do nothing. But I always try to explain there is more to that than just knowing the future. We create in our own future. We have to build our future, do something about it. Because if I say something, this and this gonna happen, and the person won't bother do anything, it won't happen. So we need to contribute for the things to happen. And the reading more is to give guardians more than give the future. Because with the guardians, I feel it will help person grow and solve and learn. Because with every problem, there is a learning. With every problems, you know, with every issues that are arising in your life, there is always something for us to learn. And if we won't learn, we won't be able to move on. So we're gonna get stuck in a circle, and we're gonna repeat the process, maybe not in the same way. So yeah, when it comes to reading, it's all different, but I try to give people the option, because there is an option. There is always the option which road we take. And it's fascinating when people coming back to me maybe a year or even 2 years or a few months after a reading, which is they thought it didn't make much of the sense. And then they coming back to me and telling me, thank you, and how much it's changed their life and all that. You make me, I don't know, it make me very happy. You make my day. And that's what I hope, you know, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, that leads very nicely on to my next question, Natalie, because, you know, without giving away names and the situations of somebody that perhaps has come to see you over a long period of time, you mentioned that you have clients that start with you and then you see them maybe a year, 2 or 3 years later. Is there a story of someone that you can tell us and tell our listeners, again, without using real names or without using the situation, is there a story that you can share with us as to how you and the gifts that you have changed somebody's life, and can you give us an example of that?
Okay, who can I choose? Oh God, there's so many. I am struggling to choose, but okay, I tell you a story about a lady who's been with me for quite few years. She had she was a single lady, and she had a relationship with someone who's wasn't available, if you get me. Yes, and she's been in this relationship for quite a few years, and all she wanted to know the answer if they're gonna be together or not. Which is, when it comes to reading a relationship, a sensitive issue, and they're always trying to be extra cautious, because for some people it can be very emotional and difficult time when it's problem arising in the relationship. But anyway, going back to this lady, she wanted so much to be together with this person that she became very confused and not knowing what to do. And she ended up running around the psychics. She's become psychic addict, which is I found out later on, because she started coming a bit too often to see me, which is I not recommend to have readings too often. And I noticed changes within her, being almost obsessive. And I always ask the client, is there any changes? Have you followed the guardians? Have you followed advice? And some of them, which is coming back to this lady, she will take advice, she'll listen to the guardians, but she never follows. So she gets stuck in the same circle, going round and round. And then she told me one day, during the reading, said, oh, that's what everybody else saying, which is make me think. And they asked her, have you having a reading with somebody else? And she said, yeah, I have a few readings with other ladies, and everyone telling more or less the same thing. So my question was to her, have you ever listened? Have you ever followed the advice? Oh, no. I said, so why do you expect changes? Because all the time she come in for a reading, she get more or less same advice, more or less same guardians, and she never bother to listen to them and follow. So in the end, I did ask this lady not to come and see me anymore, because I like people progressing. I like people moving. I don't want to waste my time telling someone and advising without them putting into the process. And seeing them time after time being stuck, coming back with some questions, it's not what I do. I rather have one client and see that it really, really helped, that the client did use my information and guardians and move on, than see someone who come in so often, too often, and doesn't move. I don't know if that really answered your question. I don't know where I'm going with it.
Well, I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking you're absolutely.
Bear with me. This is my first interview ever.
Listen, you're doing absolutely brilliantly. I mean, that leads really nicely into a conversation that I had yesterday with a personal friend of mine, and that is that, you know, we are all responsible for taking the steps to our own personal growth. And one of the things that I was thinking the other day is that, you know, when it comes to helping people, there is always a sense of, you help someone, you show them the pathway, but it's up to the individual themselves as to whether they take that pathway or not.
Yeah, because every one of us need to take responsibility for it.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, what you said is very, very honest. I mean, for what I see is that we all have a responsibility to grow. Some of us take those opportunities and some of us don't. And I guess, let me ask you another question. What is it that you feel that most clients that you get to see, what is it that they struggle with most when they come for a reading with you? What is it that they struggle with most, and what is it that they enjoy most about meeting with you?
Well, what they struggle, we all get to that point in our life when we get where we find ourselves on the crossroads, and we got so many choices to make, and we're struggling to make the choices because we are afraid to make a mistake. We are afraid of unknown. So we get stuck, basically, and we feel like we running our heads against the brick wall. So that's when many people wants to have guardians to help them overcome this block, to help them find the right way, to have that little encouragement. You know, because it's always nice if someone else say, no, it's gonna be fine. And yeah, it's when people really finding themselves a bit confused of taking the next step in their life or making decision about the job, but it's all because of the fear, and the fear fear creates the confusion and so on. And so that's where I come, to help them, lead them out of this confusion, to open the door for them, basically. And it does always put a smile on their faces. And I love to see when someone come into for the reading and all the energy around them all gloomy, and they like feeling like it's end of the world, and and during the reading they will cry, they will laugh, and when they leave I see the changes in energies, and it's fascinating. They come with a gloomy face, they leave in me with a smiley. And during the reading, there is always, because I'm a medium as well, there is always someone from the other side will pop in to say hello, or just to, you know, give extra encouragement, or just to let them know that they are around and they can talk to them if they feel a little bit down. So yeah, the readings can be emotional as well when the loved ones come in from the other side, or when we try to look into the more sensitive issues and the person realize, yes, it is what been stopping them or from moving on. Yeah. So I don't know, what was the question again?
The other side of the question that was, you know, what is it that your clients enjoy about coming to meet with you?
What they enjoy? Oh gosh, I think what they enjoy. I think they enjoy all of it. Because when we're looking on the past and then moving on to now and then going to the future, they realize the pattern. And I think some of them really enjoy discovering for themselves what has really been going on. And I love to watch the expression on their faces, but because it's like, gosh, why didn't I see this before? And then we're gonna look more deeper at the issue and help them to solve the problem themselves, really, than me just predicting the future. That doesn't really help, but lead them to the path, help them to go to that path, to the better path, where they find the answers for themselves. Yeah.
Okay, so I can't believe we're already nearly at the end of this podcast. It has gone so quickly. So final question, really, Nat. If somebody was coming to you for a reading, what would be a good way that they can prepare before coming to a reading with you?
The best way to prepare for a reading is come with an open mind and heart and be receptive. And that's where you get the best reading, because the guides of the person, my guides, they're gonna bring information to help the person at that moment, instead of, we all want to know our future, aren't we? We all want to pick what's there around the corner, but it's not always possible. It's some things you're not supposed to know. So the best way to prepare for the reading is just to come with open mind and heart and receive the guardians. And instead of coming with a list of questions, because what's happened during reading, I usually answer the questions before they even ask me, because to the end of the reading, I always ask the person, is there anything, they want to ask me? And they said, well, you answered all the questions that I wanted to know. So when person come in with open mind and heart, is the best way to have a reading.
I guess, I'm in my head swimming at the moment. I've got so many questions for you, Nat, but I guess what I sense is that, of all the shows that we all go to, last year for a number of people was a very, very tough year. 2016 seemed to
it's been tough year.
Seemed to smash away every structure. Seemed to take people right back to who they've been, who they are now, and what their hopes are for the future. It almost seems like everybody has reached a point of a new beginning. And 2017 is, now that those structures have been smashed apart, how do we work with the new man, the new woman, the people that have been set on a different path than one perhaps they've been used to? What do you sense is going to happen in 2017 for the people that you love and care about, the community at large, the mind, body, spirit space? What do you sense is going to happen within the global community?
Okay, that's a very good question. Yeah.
And then I want to make that slightly more challenging, and I want to say, what does 2017 look like for Natalie Roach?
Okay. Okay, that's a good question, Mike, because 2015 and 16 has been tough year for many of us. Even myself, I went through the big challenges. I've been tested to the limits. I had the clients who come in to me with the similar challenges, and their life been tested to the limits. It's like almost, they testing our strength. But this year is it's a new beginning for many of us. I feel like 2017 and on it will bring lots of changes in people's life. Lots of people have to give up something that they've been doing for many years. They have to let that go because they will find that it's no more working for them. It's not what makes them happy or they enjoying. So when it comes to the relationship, there is, especially 2016, and I know lots of people who had really struggled with their relationship, really tested to the limits, to the breaking points, which is some people work on it and they come out. Some people went separate ways. But the ones that work on it, I feel in 2017, their relationship will be even stronger. Because as our planet moves into the higher frequencies and higher vibration, what can I can say? Only strong will survive. So there is gonna be lots of changes within people's what they think, how they look at the world, and changes with the personal life. Like I said earlier, letting go of many things and finding new way to move on. That will more bring them to the right path that they need to be to go on with their learning and growth. Yeah. Is that answer your question?
It does, but you've messed out the vital bit, Natalie. I want to know, because you are so bubbly. I mean, anybody watching this video today, anybody listening to the podcast, they will get.
I'm really nervous. I'm shaking. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. Do you know what? You've been absolutely brilliant today. So, we're all beginners at this stuff. It's not an issue.
I will be better next time if you decide to interview me.
No, we will be inviting you back. I promise you, we will be inviting you back, because you've been an absolute blast, and I've loved this. 40 minutes with you. It's incredible. But you missed out on the most vital question. And the most vital question for me is that you talked about how going into your Egyptian past life was really important to you. You shared something about the work that you do. You shared something about the clients that you meet. You've talked about how people should prepare for readings. You've talked about lots of stuff. And one of the things that I guess I've seen over my time within working with mind, body, spirit people, and bearing in mind I come from a totally different background. I was once a former church leader, which you may or may not know, which sometimes goes down very nicely and sometimes very interestingly. But my question to you is that, I've seen lots of people who work within the mind, body, spirit space. The biggest challenge that they have is there's such a sense of humility that almost the thought of talking about oneself, it almost seems not an appropriate thing to do. So what I want to do is I just want to ask you that question once again, and that is, what does Natalie sense, using the gut instinct that she talked about right at the beginning of the episode, what does Natalie feel lies ahead for her personally, and also within her service, within her help of others? What does Natalie feel is likely to happen? What does she sense is going to happen in 2017 and beyond?
I must peep in my own future then. What I feel, because like I mentioned, 2016 has been quite testing year for me in every way. When it comes to the spiritual work, relationship, and everything else. So what I see in this year, and I really feel, is a new beginning, because I went through so much of the self-healing and self-releasing and self-realization that this year is like rebirth for me, and I will grow. I look at things in different way, and especially in the last, I think, months, that's where the things start moving on a little bit faster than usual. So yeah, I do feel it's going to be a great year for me, and I get very busy, and I do feel I am going to be traveling a bit, maybe not far away, but which is allow me to spread my wings and share my talent, and share and help people, and make good friends, the friends with who I can talk and express myself and being myself, because it's very important to me, because as I grow up, I couldn't do that. It was all hidden within. So I feel this is my time, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Yeah, so
Oh,
I think,
Nat, that's been amazing. I've completely thoroughly enjoyed this interview, and we are at the end. We've got no more time left. So
okay.
just a massive thank you. That's just been so
It's my
fascinating. Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
I do apologize. This is my first interview, and
It's
well,
been amazing.
it's
Right.
a start. It's a start.
No, well, do you know what? I mean, you know, the one thing that, the world often thinks about is that they think that flattery is the way to go. Make people feel good when even that thought of feeling good is not particularly where somebody's at, but let's just make somebody warm and fluffy and feel nice, right? Now, the one thing that you won't know about me, Natalie, is I'm not a person into flattery. I get this sense from you that you're not into flattery either. You're a lady that you say what you mean and you mean what you say. All right. And so, for me personally, Natalie, I've had an incredible time. I've learned so much about you. I'm looking forward to the next episode already, because I'm absolutely sure that you are a lady destined to help many. Many others, and I'm looking forward to seeing the story unfold. I'm looking forward to, in 3 months' time, when we invite you back, I'm looking forward to you being able to share just some incredible stuff that the universe has been taking you into, and that you'll talk to us about all of the places that you've been traveling. I think you've been an absolutely incredible guest. I would like to thank you for the time that you have shared with Lana and I this morning. It's been an absolute breeze for me, and I know I say this on every episode, but I could listen to your accent all day long. But it's been a breeze. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure for me, and I'm already looking forward to the next time.
Oh, Nat, thanks so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.